point. So take for example in the Chinese Civil War, between the Republic of China and the Communist State of China, and obviously China, the real China fled to Taiwan. So yeah, just to say that they wouldn't destroy history. Anything that doesn't suit the narrative, no, that'd be gone. That's no nothing to see here, kids. But things that suit their narrative, people that fought for the Chinese communists, for them to take over in China, they would be idolized and things like that. In this country, in Ireland, take for example, people who fought for our freedom are just their houses and the historical buildings in this country. In China, they idolize buildings. You don't see them go and knocking down the Great Wall of China, because it's a significant part of their history. And the same with North Korea, they have a big, massive hotel that nobody's in, but it's a big part of their city, Pyongyang, and it's a big part of their it's a big part of the country. In this country here, Moore Street, for example, the developers, because again, the developers and the bondholders and the rest of the bankers own this country. The European Union owns it, which is owned by the World Economic Forum and the rest of them. So, yeah, which brings me on to my next point. Like, what to get rid of Moore Street? The Moore Street's been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. And people have been trading the Moore Street and you were trading family businesses, things like that. And obviously the government and the powers that be don't like family businesses and don't like people making a few shillings. They don't like that. They don't like the significance in the 1916 rising Moore Street has. And the same we see with Tom Clark's house and the O'Reilly house. They just went in, barged it down, knocked it down. They didn't care less. Not a care in the world. You think there would be an up in arms, everyone in the government saying, how dare they knock a person who sacrificed their life for this country. But no, a few whispers, that's it. Nothing was done about it. And still to this day, Dublin City Council refused to do anything about it. And it seems the Lord Mayor in the West, and they just refused, and Housing Minister Darrell O'Brien refuses. Now, take for example, there was in China, that China was fighting for its independence. Take for example, it was under British rule or whatever. Just in a turn of reality, they would idolize these people's houses. They would make it a huge part of the state. But in this country, apparently, it doesn't matter. They just want to bulldoze anything they can and put big property markets the size of, big buildings the size of Antrim. And that's because the developers are making the money. It's not that they're going to council houses or anything like that. It's for the developers. And again, the cycle continues. As we've seen with the O'Reilly, the same is going to happen to Tom Clark's house. And mark my words, it will happen. And please God, it won't happen. Please God intervene, or something will intervene in stopping these developers from getting offered, because bet you any money they will find a way of doing it, as they did with the O'Reilly house, which had no, and it was illegally done apparently. Dublin City Council knew nothing. Again, apparently the word I use. Because I believe somebody in Dublin City Council knows something and knew something beforehand. But this is the thing. In North Korea or China, imagine if they went to Xi Jinping's house, his home house where he was born, and they just went with a bulldozer and knocked it down. You think these people who were, they say they were developers in China, and they went to his house and just knocked it down and said, it's not relevant. They would be in a concentration camp. They'd probably be shot dead. They probably wouldn't even get into a concentration camp. They'd probably be tortured, and put on display. The same in North Korea, if they went and knocked down King Louis Sol's house or anything like that, or a statue or anything like that. But again, it's very different in Ireland. They just don't like anything that suits the narrative. Nothing that suits people fighting for their freedom. They don't like that. They like people who are subjugated and people that didn't stand up and people that just accepts whatever the government says. Spin the yarn, as they say. And ask no questions, just keep spinning. So that's the government's line. But yeah, let me know what you think. I just thought I'd say there.